Well, welcome all of you that are interested in becoming small group leaders at Lake Michigan Christian Center. I'm going to walk you through the basic principles of how to lead a small group based on this book, Cell Group Leader Training. And hopefully you've got a copy of this and you can kind of read along as I go over the material. But again, my purpose is not to make this exhaustive, just to give you kind of the nuts and bolts, the rules of the road for our small groups. Okay, so basically the vision for our small groups is that each small group gathering incorporates four key components. Okay, an inward component. Okay, dealing with small, growing in Christ, Bible study, applying the word to your life. Okay, again, that's what most of us understand the purpose of a small group, or at least have had some sort of a background in a small group. Okay, so it's got an inward component. Okay, it's also got an upward component. It's a worship component. There'll be a segment within each small group where we challenge our leaders to lead people in worship in some capacity. Okay, there is a forward component to our small groups, and that is mentoring, that is disciple making, that is grooming an assistant leader or leaders who can either take over the group for you as you move on and start another group, or they go out from your group and start another group themselves. In other words, there's very much a multiplication component in this small group ministry. And then finally, there's an outward component, okay? And of course, that involves outreach, evangelism. One of the things that we challenge our small groups to be about is, once every 6 to 8 weeks, shut down your group and go do an outreach. And again, you can be creative in whatever you want, whatever way you want to do that, okay? Whatever works with your group. You might do a soup kitchen. You might do what I've done in the past, clean gas station bathrooms. There's nothing more fun and more engaging is when you walk in with a group of people with a mop bucket and all kinds of cleaning supplies and you say, hey, I'm here to clean your gas station bathroom. Okay, well, is that servanthood on steroids? I would think so. But invariably when you do that, the shop owner says, why in the world would you come and wash my gas station bathroom? And you would tell them, hey, we're trying to express the love of Jesus in a very tangible way, and so we want to help. And again, it's a great discussion starter. But again, be creative, whatever works within your group setting and what is aligned with the gift mix of your group. So all four of those components are a part of our group. And again, the purpose of that is because if we all we do is focus on the inward component, okay, our groups become very inbred. Our groups become very much us four and no more. If we never focus on worship, okay, we can perhaps get bogged down in all of the problems and struggles that your group or your group members might have. Getting our focus on Jesus, magnifying him, lifting him up in song in some creative way, is a way to, again, focus on the greatness of God, the goodness of God, and how God is big enough to take care of all of our struggles and problems. If we do not develop leaders and have a forward component, our groups tend to get stuck. In other words, what are we doing? Where are we going? Is this just a group that we meet, every week, year after year after year with no end game? What's the end game in this vision of small groups is basically multiplying yourself. Your mission, should you choose to accept it as a small group leader, is to multiply yourself so that you can essentially train yourself out of a job. Now, you might stay the leader of that group, but you might see in the course of 6 months or a year, several of your members leaving and starting their own groups. That's a sign of health. That's a good thing. That tells me a number of things have happened. You've mentored them. You've allowed them to lead the group themselves. You have, prepared them in such a way that there's confidence that they have to go and lead another group. And so that's a healthy thing. In other words, all these components are very, very healthy. And the name for this is called holistic small groups. Okay, again, holistic because it involves all four components on a regular basis. Most groups are very one or two dimensional. They might have a component of worship, and they might have a component of Bible study. But many times they don't have any plan for multiplying themselves as a leader and helping to prepare someone else to lead as well. And they many times do not have a plan for outreach. And that's the strength of this model. Okay, so again, going through this a little bit here, page 10, a simple definition of a cell group, a group of about 4 to 15 people. Okay, we don't want 30 people. Once you get, above even 10 or 12 people, again, taking the model of Jesus and the 12 disciples, it becomes very hard to do pastoral care. It becomes much harder to understand, where different people are at. It becomes harder for people to share. If you have a question or a Bible application, the more you have, the harder it is for people, because again, people can get intimidated. Okay, the idea is you meet on a regular basis for scheduled meetings, usually once a week. And hear me, I want to say this. I want to be creative. You can say, hey, I'm going to do a 10-week small group, and then we're going to take a break for a month, and then we'll do another 10-week group. That's totally fine. I'm fine with hey, we're not going to do this all year long. Some groups like to do it in the semester system, which is great. That's totally cool. Just you're paralleling a school semester. And so people know at the end of that 12, 13, 14 weeks, you've got Christmas break off, New Year's off, you got maybe 4 or 5 weeks off before you gather together again. That allows, some rhythm within your people. That causes people to not get burned out. That gives people a much needed break and all that good stuff. Okay. And so again, the goal of our groups is obviously discipleship, but it's also, group multiplication and mentoring. That's a big part of the model here within the groups. Okay, and again, you can familiarize yourself with a lot of that information. So I'm going to revisit this, and we're going to pick up on page 12.